Supposedly people in the Air Force are just doing whatever they want to do. Only a month ago, we had an Air Force member say, YOLO, I'm not going to go to my PT. I'm getting a PS5 leadership. Now we got this guy on Facebook going off saying Joe Biden's not his president. What's next, Air Force? You guys forgot you're in the military. I know the chairs are comfy. I made this one myself. But this comes down to an Airman First Class, Sean Brinson, which has been documented by military.com, covering some of these outrageous posts that he's saying, as many people are going to be like, that's not outrageous because I'm on this other side of the fence. I know, just listen to the story, because the last video I made kind of like this. You guys watched like 2 minutes and stopped. Keep watching. Now, it looks like Sean Brinson did not make this on his personal Facebook page amongst his own friends and people that might be a little bit trustworthy. No, Sean Brinson, the Airman First Class E3 that he is, decides to make this bold move that he's going to post it. Airman NCO SNCO page. He says, Beijing Biden is not my president for 4 years. Of course you post this on literally the most viewed Air Force page that's, I would say, unofficial from an official military Air Force site where you went to boot camp with people, you work with people, you have been stationed with somebody that likely knows who you are. The Air Force is not that big, and this page has 50,000 plus people on it. People are going to know who you are, dude. But that's not where he stops. He says, end of God story. But that's not the only time he posted this. If you went back to his page, going back to when the election occurred, he actually did make other posts on his page that included, the people of the United States are the ultimate authority that I answer to. Congress is not. BLM is not. Beijing Biden is not. He wrote on January 7th. I do not condemn the people at Capitol Hill. I condemn the communists and who believed that they could steal the election and that the people would just accept it. My favorite part of this entire thing, he says, I am an American airman. I am a warrior. I've answered my nation's call. I am an American airman. You went to boot camp, dude. You're an E3. I doubt you've even deployed anywhere else. You've answered the call to earn a paycheck, get a technical skill, get stationed probably one of the coolest bases you could in the Air Force. Germany, come on, man. Maybe they will keep him there. If not, he's going back to the States quick. But if you do not remember from my controversial video, which really wasn't, it was just news I was putting out there, of the Joint Chiefs of Staff releasing a memorandum letting everyone in the military know who the president is, not to be confused by other sources. This is what you have to respect. This is the final verdict word. And I look at this guy's situation as an E3, maybe 22 or younger, 21 or younger, maybe even 18 if he did ROTC or something. Really, this kid could have been just like, I'm hearing all the outlets that he's not really the president right now. So when you look at it, you got to be like, that would be confusing for a young guy. And I know there are people on this video that are going to say, yes, he should defend the Constitution. And I understand that. At the same time, I appreciate your opinions and views. You haven't put up your right hand to defend it with me, probably. You're not paying my bills. You're not in my situation that's going to have to serve time in the brig, be kicked out of the service. All these other things that, like, until you're in my situation and you have this on the line, then you can come talk to me about whatever your decisions are or what you're trying to pressure me to do. But most of you guys are keyboard warriors in the back of your couches. Now, the leadership over at Ramstein Air Base has not concluded what they have said they are going to do as far as punishment. This is going to be handled at a much lower level, and with many other cases previously in the past, they have not released some of the results. Jackie Spire, a California Democrat who served as the chairwoman of the House of Armed Service Personnel Subcommittee, is calling on the Pentagon to investigate military recruits through their social media pages. She wrote Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and directed the services to establish procedures to review the social media activity of incoming recruits, supplemented by guidance to assist recruiters in identifying extremist groups and activities. We already kind of do that with the tattoos and things like that, but you have to look at this from the perspective of before someone joins the military, they are a civilian. Freedom of speech, they do not follow any of the guidelines of the military. They are not required to follow the UCMJ. Now, the second they join the military, those expectations should be placed on them moving forward. But that's judging somebody before they've come in. How can you not attack freedom of speech? And it's not really a crime, for example, that this would be a judicial issue, such as like somebody that comes in with a criminal past. Now, a lot of people talk about the training of social media in the military, and a lot of this is pertaining to operational security with all the lame types of training that you're going to find out there, Uncle Sam, dragons, and all this other nonsense. How crazy can we make this training so you remember it? That's how much I remember this. But there's a lot of gaps, people are saying, I should say, in regards to social media policy. And I'll disagree on that. But what they're saying is that we should be focusing more on some of the social media policy and not as much on the OPSEC. Now, it should be noted that the social media guidance that is provided is service by service. And for example, I use the Navy social media handbook that I use to make any of these videos. The DoD instruction does not cover social media specifically, which is why they're looking to make this more strict for Air Force members like this guy that just can't somehow follow the rules, even though they're pretty broad and easy to follow. Now, the military does not tell you not to be political. They tell you that you can be political. You just can't share that specific page for that candidate. You can't share, retweet, whatever that candidate says. And don't participate in any interviews for the news or the media. So this gets to my thoughts. As someone that does social media on a regular basis, I can tell you the guidelines are exactly where they should be. And I'm not saying that just to be biased because I like the freedom that I have. What's going to happen is if you try and micromanage everything, it's only going to get worse. We already have Facebook police. We already have Karens. We don't need another one out there trying to control everything. What I have noticed, though, is that a lot of people that are in leadership positions are not well versed on the topic of social media and do not understand what you're able to post and not able to post. Even so much so that when the Capitol situation occurred, the guidance that was passed, don't post about it at all. And I'm like, that's not what social media guidelines say at all, by the way. They actually say differently. As long as you're not posting saying that you're not going to listen to who your boss is, they're not your boss, you're being defiant, being an idiot like this airman right here, you're probably going to be okay. And to get to this point, I don't want any more control on social media platforms than we already have. We already have too many. And when you look at this, these are small, isolated cases which can and are being handled at the command level. We love doing mass punishment in the military. We love it for some reason. And these external forces from other places like to drive that on us when they're not the ones having to deal with this on a regular basis. Knee-jerk reactions every single time something happens. Military this, blash, blah, you know what I mean? And then, you know who's suffering? Us. And this guy down here doesn't make it any better, but I will say these are small little bloops in the radar, and this will be another speed bump. Hopefully his career can still continue on and he can learn something from this, maybe educate a few other airmen out there. And, you know, people in the Air Force, you're still in the military. Just remember that. But this is where we get to the part of the video where I ask you guys, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that this guy was out of line, or do you think that the social media policies are maybe a little too tight or too loose? You know, I mean, we all interact with social media in a different way, and I think moving forward, we're going to see some changes maybe come up that we've learned from this election cycle. But as always, guys, if you guys do love what we do here on the channel, we do have a Patreon link down below where you can help support us over there. Also, we do have a channel membership where you can help us out here at the join button down below this video. And as always, if you guys do have questions about this or anything else, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.